defeat to Liverpool. Jack, you were sort of joking last week when you said we were going to get Pubble 4-0. You didn't say Jota would get a hat-trick, so if we start on a positive, Jota didn't score, and I think everybody would have put money on him doing that, but it didn't happen, so that is some good news. Otherwise, Harry, going to Liverpool is very tricky. Just ask the last 64 teams that have been there and not won. 65 now for Liverpool. It does not help when your captain, who's clearly given his family the biggest gift that he could this Christmas, has an absolute howler on the edge of the box.
Yeah. Before that, though, I was really disappointed in the starting lineup. I wanted Fabio Silva to play, as we discussed a lot last week. And Jack called it right. He went with Neto, Podence and Adama as the three. But up until Cody gave them the first goal, we were doing okay, I thought. We had a few chances, Podence's chip, Traore crossing the ball in. They were obviously on us a lot with their own counter-attacks, but it was just so depressing because as soon as that happened, you just knew that was it. And then the heads went down, and very disappointing from Cody, who's been really good this season. So I'm not going to be too harsh on him.
And Jack, I mean, it was almost inevitable, wasn't it? When you do look at those stats, they've won 31 of the last 32 home league games, and the other one was a draw. 93 goals in the process, conceding 25. I mean, the odds are pretty much stacked against us from the beginning, weren't they?
Yeah, but, under Nuno, we've seen to overturn odds being against us on quite a few occasions, but it seems just never against Liverpool. Liverpool, we've got nothing against since we came back up, and all the other big clubs we have. And I agree with Harry. I thought the first half performance was all right, to be honest. It wasn't too bad at all. Obviously, it's annoying what Cody did. It was just a silly error, which he was kicking himself about. At the end of the first half, you're thinking, hang on, we're going to go in 1-1 at half time next. He's just given us a penalty, which was rightly overturned, let's be honest. And then in the second half, though, some of the defending was shocking, wasn't it, really? It wasn't good enough, wasn't up to scratch. And it's, like one of these games where, we could have got a point there if we hadn't let in 4 goals.
Let's go over live to our wing-back correspondent, Sam Bayliss, in this capacity of right back. How's it looking out there, Dan? I don't know, Jeff.
I'm actually not as distraught as most of social media.
Yeah.
Going to go and lose 4-0. It's probably going to be Liverpool away, isn't it? Started brightly, created chances. A couple of things that did annoy me. We put 23 balls into the box. No fucker there to go anywhere near them. It's going to cause you a problem, isn't it? You can put the ball in the box all day, but if there's no one about to put it in the net, you're in trouble. And that was the story. Their heads dropped second half, didn't they? And it really degenerated. It was a super hand stag do.
I was sat there just getting ready for half time, obviously texting with my dad and stuff because he's a Liverpool fan. And I think towards the end of the game, he actually just felt sorry for me, so he stopped messaging back. But Harry, when we look at that game, and I echo what you say about Silva, and I think he needs minutes. But what does Nuno do now? Because it's really interesting to see what he does do, because I know that we talked last week about giving Silva a chance. He hasn't been given that chance because he doesn't trust him, clearly. But what does he do now? Because he can't start the same team again, can he?
I agree. And I don't know. It's weird with Nuno because we've said it over the years doing this podcast. It takes him a while to trust players. It really does. Look at Dendoncker. It took him a good 6 months to get into the team. And with Fabio Silva, although he did okay against Arsenal, I thought the fact he brought him off on the 70-odd minute was to give him a little bit of a rest, ready to start this game. So very frustrating. And I think the thing he has to do now is throw Fabio Silva in, but I don't think he will. I think we might see us revert back to a 5 because, let's be honest, we was at 6s and 7s at the back. And I know Bayliss has moaned about Semedo, but at least he put one in the back of the net for once. So.
Well, we actually haven't got to Semedo yet. That will come. That's coming. One thing I will say, Fabio Silva came on in a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
He did come on. But I tried to keep an eye out. I might have missed one, but I don't think he touched the ball.
Oh, right, really? Okay, not a good shout. I know.
He might have a couple of times, but I tried to pick up on it. I don't think he did.
Another player who come on, Vitinha. Vitinha come on. I'd like to see him have a go as well. I know he didn't have much to do. The game was over, but he looks really tidy on the ball. And I think if he could play in the hole, if we continue playing like the 4-2-3-1 or the 4-3-3, I'd really like to see him have a go because Neves is just non-existent. He played one good pass out to Traore, but apart from that, the bloke's just a passenger at the moment. So, yeah, I don't know.
Harry, this is one of the best teams in the world we got done by. And It was the last 20 minutes really that killed us off. They
were clinical, weren't they? They were clinical.
Everything we're not in terms of finishing, aren't they? It's just ridiculous the levels in terms of finishing. Because I've said it before, we need twice as many chances as a lot of the other teams in order to score one goal. And a lot of the time, we can create more chances than everybody else. But against Liverpool, when they can finish like that, they're that clinical. It's just, we're never going to... When was the last time we scored 4 goals in a game?
Leeds in the Championship.
Is it 4-1?
Yeah, exactly. So we just don't do it, do we? We try and grind out 1-1 draws or 2-1 wins or whatever it might be. And it's just not going to happen when we're against a team that can finish like that. Overall, I wasn't pan-wetting. I wasn't too disappointed. There were actually some positives to take. Like I say, the first half, it wasn't too bad. Even going in 1-0 at half time, you're thinking, we're still in this. You just got to stay in this game to the last 20 minutes, then win it. I suppose the problem is then you're looking at the bench and everyone you've got who is on the field, really, in terms of players to bring on. I think we miss Jimenez. You can tell we definitely miss Jimenez.
God, yeah.
Like you said about those crosses down and the amount of times we put the ball in the box when you're crossing them to opponents.
One along the floor go over his head.
We need Neto to grab Podence and throw him up in the air when they cross the ball to get some height on it.
Busy all week working.
Let's get the rugby team in. Let's get Worcester Warriors in. They can just do a practice line out or something for a cross.
We did score 4 in the Europa League. Sorry, I forgot about that against Espanyol on that.
That's true.
Yeah, in the league game though.
Should we go on to the defending and just discuss what happened with 4 at the back and how Liverpool opened us up? Because it did look a little bit easy at times. Yes, we're all happily admitting this is one of the best teams in the world. They are fantastic at what they do. But still, Wolves are really well regarded for a tight defence. And now twice this season, we've been opened up like Christmas morning, haven't we? So,
and that's ruined as well.
Well, we can go and... The thing is, I could sit here and go, Smedo, but it wasn't just him. It was a collective issue. And
what's changed this week?
Where's Bayliss and what you do with him?
No, as far as I'm concerned, this is just a great big fucking "I told you so." I've just been right.
You can't say "I told you so."
Bayliss,
smug and saying,
and it's taken us until now to realise it.
Bayliss, you said last week, right, and I quote, "I don't mind if Wolves have a bit of a go and lose by 4. I don't want us to sit back and lose a boring 2-0. So are you happy?
I know he's weak. I know that he is a weak link in the team, and other teams will start to identify that and exploit it. But he's better at defending than he is attacking, so that's where he's got to play.
I personally think Cody was the weakest
actually
link.
That horrendous.
Unfortunately, he's more Anne Robinson than Andy Robinson.
It was that goal, the Wijnaldum goal, when they all was backing off. It was a great finish, don't get me wrong, but the space in front of him, my God.
Stand off goal.
The thing is, though, he's got pelters, Harry. I think he's been worse in other games than he was against Liverpool. I think, he had a couple of dodgy moments, but I don't think he was overall that terrible.
Well, he scored an own goal, didn't he? That's not very good. But yeah, it's like, everyone wanted a back 4 as a change because we were so boring and negative for 5. But I think when you go, although I'm a hypocrite now because I did want us to go and play a 4 at the back against Anfield. But in hindsight, maybe play a 5 against the big boys and play the 4 against teams we should beat. I don't know, like Brighton at home.
You mean change to adapt to the team you're playing?
That's what we want to do.
Harry, it could have been 2-0 at half time. Wolves not get a single ball in the box, and we'd all been going nuts, and it'd have been a 3-0 loss.
Yeah. True.
I'm not happy with this. Bayliss is the voice of reason. shave the moustache off. It's clearly mellowing you.
I like the moustache. The moustache is staying until I'm threatened with being kicked out.
Was you happy Jota didn't start, lads? Because he'd have definitely scored if he'd have started, I think.
100%.
Yeah, he probably would have.
Yeah.
We talk about how good Liverpool are, one of the best teams in the world, Jack, and they have been that for the last couple of seasons, especially when we played them in the Premier League, but we've never gone to Anfield or played them at Molineux and rolled over, conceded like that in the past. And arguably, the team that started against Wolves this time round is the weakest of the Liverpool teams that have played since we got promoted.
That is worrying. And then I suppose you start to look at the players who did play in those games where we did well against Liverpool or gave them more of a battle. And you're looking at players like Johnny and Jimenez, who are both long-term injured. So that doesn't help. That's not an excuse. But the worry for me is we've been done over away from home 4-0 twice already this season. And that didn't happen. That hasn't happened really since we've come back up, has it? We had the freak result at home to Chelsea last season. But usually it doesn't happen. I know we've changed the formation, but that's the worry, is that it seems, we go on our little runs and we're competing, we're picking up points. But every now and then someone just blows us away. And we're like, oh, Where'd that come from? Like with West Ham, not so much with Liverpool because obviously they're brilliant. They can do that to teams, but you still like us to be more competitive. At least
Jack, it's the fact that game gets away from us. In games in the past where we've been losing, we always seem to fight, get one, and then it turns into a close match.
Also, think back to when we played them at Anfield last year. It was like a 48-hour turnaround. We changed the team a lot, so a lot of the stars weren't even playing. And look how we battled then and only lost 1-0, and arguably we could have drew. So it is weird, like you say, the West Ham loss, losing 4-0 again here. I don't know, it's just something... It's been a good start to the season, as we've mentioned. We're still I think we joined 7th, weren't we, after the game, even though we got heavily beat. But there is something there where it's worrying when we do just get dicked sometimes, because with Wolves, even when we haven't been playing well, we do tend to keep scores low most of the time, don't we?
Bailey, on your point you just made there, do you think it's the bench that's the problem or the starting 11?
Just aren't the team that we're used to. It isn't the same unit of players playing the same system. They're not aware of it. We haven't got as much goal scoring threat now and probably won't do unless we spend a lot of money in January. So we've just got to find an alternative way of scoring goals. We just need something to go our way. Neves to get on form and score one from 30 yards against the Villa. Just something to just change the dynamic, give us a bit of confidence, because we felt low. We looked really low for the last 25 minutes of that Liverpool game. It wasn't a Wolves team I've seen. I mean, Nuno must have absolutely done them, like murdered them in that dressing room afterwards. So you've got to expect a lot out of the Villa game.
I think we are no longer Wolves who've just come up for the Championship. We're Wolves who are established Premier League, but in a transition phase. So we do probably need to have a little bit of patience because the personnel have changed. For the first time, really, since Nuno's come in, we've got two, long-term injuries that are really not helping. Because if Johnny and Jimenez are fit, they're in the starting lineup, aren't they? Really, you think pretty much. So that's not helping. The midfield looks a little bit tired, a little bit short on legs, a little bit short of ideas. So. Yeah, we've got to have a little bit of patience, I think. And I think I don't mind letting it go too much. And it's testament to really how well Cody's done this year. The fact that I wasn't that angry with him, even after he gave away the stupid goal. I'm not too worried about the penalty call because he didn't appeal for that. He went down. The ref gave it. It wasn't his fault. It was the ref's fault, I think. I know he probably got pelters on Twitter.
The cop gave him a hard time, didn't they? Like beyond the goal. They weren't happy. And Henderson.
Yeah, well, fuck them. So I wasn't. Yeah, I'm not too worried about it, but at the moment. But I think I said in the group that I'm not too worried about losing 4-0 on against Liverpool. But if we lose 4-0 at this weekend coming, I'll be very annoyed.
Oh Jesus! Apparently on the Twitter sphere, so it might be absolute nonsense. Apparently Cody's only ever made 3 mistakes that have led to direct goals, and 2 have been against Liverpool.
I saw
Agent
that.
Cody.
I saw that, yeah.
Takes some doing, that does.
We had fans at Anfield, didn't we? So I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on that, because when it happened, I was like, brilliant, that's really good. Fans are getting back into stadiums. Once I started hearing the crowd, I was like, this is actually quite unfair. I don't know how anyone else feels about it. I'll start with you, Harry.
Yeah.
They're booing the ref. They're cheering when it goes their way, when it maybe shouldn't. I know the referee, for me, was given a lot to Liverpool and not Wolves, but let's face it, we're used to that. I don't think it's right.
I agree. When I watched the first game, which I think was West Ham, the one I saw with the fans in, they didn't do too much, but the Chelsea one, obviously Liverpool, the Cup and that, it's definitely an advantage, 100%. And I think they should have waited until every single ground in the country could have a few thousand in, because it's just not fair, is it? Let's be honest.
Has a home side in Tier 2 lost a game?
Good question.
Think of one that has.
Yeah, West Ham did. They lost to Man United. Yeah.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
Sorry. Well, that's good.
Another point. Did you notice the first thing I spotted on TV when they showed the fans was a Liverpool fan not wearing a mask singing "You'll Never Walk Alone"?
Yeah. And did you see there was at least 2 people standing up with crutches in their hands, just balancing on their arms? I was like, it's the miracle of Merseyside, isn't it? It's like when Lovren scored against Borussia Dortmund in the last minute, and the whole wheelchair section.
It's a miracle.
It was a miracle.
But